Hello everyone! Happy Halloween! Happy October! End of time with spookiness. Welcome to Stephen King's F13. This is, well, something different. Everybody else is playing scary games. I'm gonna play this, which has a really spooky feel to it, but let's actually dig in deeper. And why am I playing this? Well, as I'm continuing working on Pegasus Prime and getting that done, I decided to look at, well, Presto Studios' other work, which included this game. And by the time I was looking at it, it was getting close to the months, so I'm like, okay, how about I buy this and see what it's all about, and then show it to you. Because Stephen King, he's an author that I kind of have read a couple times, but not completely. And this one was kind of interesting. He even had some of the Presto Studios crew for the Journeyman project even involved in it. Not all of them, but some of them. So this game was released just within the new year, the year 2000, but everything is kind of copyright 1999. Like, this was January 18th, I believe. So we have a whole bunch of different things to show off in terms of what Stephen King's F13 has to offer. So let's start with something on the right called Bumps and Thumps. This is a weird collection of things. I don't even call it a game, in all honesty. Because you kind of have something like this. These are pretty much just sound effects. It kind of gives me the first impression of what I am expecting out of F13, because more than half of the things that are on this disc are things to customize your computer with, which seems really out of touch for where PC stuff was going at the time. The soundboard is not that bad, to be honest. But what are you going to use it for? No, the man! Yes, so all of these little sound effects you can actually customize your computer with in order to make them happen at different points. It seems really out of touch with the year 2000 what was happening, but now, what is really the meat and potatoes of this disc? Well, it's actually the two things on the left. We're going to start with Everything's Eventual by Stephen King. A really interesting piece of literature from the novelist himself. And the really interesting thing about it is the time it came out. You see, one of the advertisements for this game was this pretty much short story. Roughly about 40 to 50 pages regularly, but it actually is more like 84, 85, I think, on this actual disc. 84. Yeah. But the strange thing is that this was the only way you were actually able to read this short story from Stephen King. It's actually not a bad story either. It's pretty much a high school dropout of 19 who gets involved with getting this job from a secret corporation who pretty much handles everything in terms of homestead and everything like that. And there's a little bit of element of like dark, kind of weird magic involved, as well as just kind of secret government conspiracy about what the boy's job is that he's actually doing, and it goes into feelings of mass murder and also how you feel about that. It's worth a read. The weird thing about this is that it came out in 1999, right? And this was the only place you were actually able to read it at the time. And I say at the time because this short story was eventually published in 2002 under the same name, Everything's Eventual, along with 13 other short stories. So you have this short story and 13 other short stories on top of that, making it a 14 collection. But yeah, we're checking out. It's pretty much just a bunch of, like, he has to deliver secret letters that only he can do. And you learn a little bit more about that. There's a lot of context and a lot of anecdotal chapters in it, which are honestly something that I'm personally was into because of the way that it was written. But in terms of reading it here, there's actually not much to it. You get a little bit of, like, background music and ambient music, ambience, which doesn't really serve it all that well. Especially when you're dealing with the subject matter involved. And in the terms of, like, bullying is the first thing that comes out in there. But you can leave bookmarks, and that's just swell. I don't know why. It seems like a very weird kind of thing to put in here. Who uses a bookmark feature anymore? But yeah, the biggest thing on this disc is kind of moot at this point when there has been a book there. As well as you can just Google search Everything's Eventual PDF and you'll find a PDF of it online for you to read without actually spending any money. Such a strange thing. Worth a read, though. So there's Everything's Eventual. And by the time you actually finish reading the story, the word eventual, you think it starts making sense. But then all of a sudden it kind of doesn't. It's like, what does this mean anymore? But what else is on this disc? Well, there's a fun house. And it has 3 whole games on it. And I hesitate to even call them games. You got No Swimming, Bug Splat, and Whack-A-Zombie. We're going to start with No Swimming. To feed the piranha, click on any of the animals along the bottom of the screen. Drag the animal up above the waterline, then release the mouse button. This isn't a game. There's no game to it. It's a novelty of early or late 90s electronic entertainment, if you will. You have a piranha tank. You have 5 different animals to choose from. A rhino, a dog, a gator, a cow, and a horse. You can pick up the horse, you can pick up any animal, just drop them in the tank. And then just watch the piranha eat it. Yeah, so let's just say that if you were to look up reviews online from early on in the day, as I dangle this horse, looky, looky. Yeah, looky. Like, I have more fun in Roller Coaster Tycoon than I do here in terms of dangling things in the air by a magic hand or hook. Like, jeez. I have a really strong disembodied hand. But if you were to look up reviews of this game, they're not pleasant. Like, this game this game is not great. And they talk about this, going like the novelty of it is about a minute. But if you want to see everything that's involved in it, it's more like you have to wait around for 5 minutes. Jeez, the dog even has to bite me. It's an awful noise to hear. I don't like that. Okay. But pretty much there's no difference. Picking up a rhino by its neck, just kind of ringing around. Like, hey, you want some? You want some, huh? Woo. But yes, you can do that to your heart's desire, whatever desire that may be. But if you do, there is something else that happens. And that is when the piranha gets angry. If you decide to just leave it on the screen for about 1.5 to 2 minutes of doing nothing, then eventually they will start busting through the screen, being angry at you. kind of pointless, but oh well. So yeah, no fishing. Not great. But we have 2 other games to look at. Oh boy! So good. Like next up, we have Bug Splat. This is probably the closest that the game actually gets to being scary. And by scary, I mean gross. You are going to be scared by cockroaches. You have 45 to 60 seconds to kill all the roaches. It depends on the round that you get more. If you succeed in killing them all, you go to the next round. What is the end goal of this game? Nothing, really. It's a high score. It's one of those. Try to squish the eggs before they hatch. Happy hunting. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. You see, so we start off with the fly swatter. You have cockroaches bubbling around everywhere, and you can smack them, and then they get all gooey. Then you have the eggs, which they hatch super quickly for me. I think they're supposed to be a little bit slower than that, but then, like, I don't know about you, but cockroaches I'm okay with in real life, but man, they're huge. They become huge. They just explode out of the egg. Ugh. There are different backgrounds that you get depending on whether or not you quit and retry again. And it's not just the fly swatter you're able to use, you're also able to use a newspaper, among another thing that we're going to be seeing hopefully later on. I do not like these guts. These guts are not cool. Not cool at all. Ugh. But yeah, so let's just put in this perspective of being the actual person who has to swat all of these cockroaches that are coming up everywhere. You might as well just burn your house down. I would do that. I'm like, okay, how about when I buy a house, I use a realtor, I then did a home inspection to make sure that there isn't millions of cockroach eggs all over the place to freak me the hell out. Then, on top of that, if you decide to just not do any of the 2 things in order to be sensible in terms of getting a house, just take a match, light it, and throw it at the cockroaches. Light them all on fire, burn them to the ground, or, take your hammer out and do it that way. Like, good God. The other problem with this game is that they like hiding beyond the screen, so you can't get at them until they come back up on the screen. So there's just a lot of waiting for those last 2 cockroaches to show up again, because they like to leave. It's kind of annoying, especially when you're playing in a window. There is a little bit of an aesthetic addition to this game as well, especially when you're using the hammer. It's not really great on this background, but it does leave tiny little dents in the background. So you can practically just do this forever. Like, there's really no end to the cockroaches coming up and bursting out of the It's not fun. It's not fun. But yeah, and really, like, what skill is there? You are clicking the mouse button over and over and over and over and over again. How do you end the game? Well, you pretty much just wait for the time to run out. And I didn't even bother past round 20 in order to see if there was going to be any more cockroaches that show up. I think there's a limit to the amount of eggs that can show up. So you won't be flooded with the things if you are not okay with cockroaches. Then again, you probably wouldn't be playing this game otherwise. And there's better things for you to do with your time. Happy spooky scary Halloween! Cockroaches flying around the screen. Game over. Not like it's really great. Beat Hoser, I beat Chris. What's my name? It's gross. This game's gross. The title is gross. High scores and bubble mucus letters. So great. Okay, let's get the heck out of here. Okay, one more. Bug Splat, no thank you. No swimming, no thank you. Whack-a-Zombie! Why is it a skeleton that is supposed to be advertising your game? Okay, so, forgive the lack of punctuation. You're a gravedigger trying to keep the undead from adding you to their ranks. When a corpse rises from the grave, whack it on the head with your shovel and send it back where it belongs. But remember to keep an eye out on your health meter. Square. The evil spirits are constantly draining your life force. Zombies that emerge from their graves without being hit may throw a bone at you. If you donut knock the bone out of the air with your shovel, it will hit you, causing you to lose additional health. But worst of all is the Bansheeos scream. Be sure to hit these ghosts the moment they materialize, or their shriek will send you to another grave. Kill the indicated number of zombies before their health expires, and you will move on to the next level and regain full health. Otherwise, they're all a tombstone with your name on it, eh? Is it just not like the Canadian multicultural keyboard system? Because I know that I always have to change it back to US for me. So, Whack-a-Zombie is exactly what you would think from the Wacka before the end of it. It also starts off really quickly in terms of level progression. You only get like 1, 2, and then up to 5. Now, there's a bunch of different enemies. It's not just the skeletons, because of course this is Whack-a-Zombie, so why would there not be zombies in a game called Whack-a-Zombie? It's certainly, for me, the kind of the best one. It's the most fleshed out of all of the games that are here. It's still not that great. Hi, zombie, bye. But the other thing about it is that you really do have to be quick about everything. Because when they pop up, they're going to waste no time in terms of throwing crap at you. Whether it be bones, whether it be also their own heads. Sometimes they do that. So we have zombies, we have skeletons. It's gonna be a little bit before we see the last enemy that the game throws at you. 3 whole enemies! It is insane! It's so scary. So scary good. We're in a graveyard and nobody wants you there. All the undead coming up to say, hey! Leave us in peace! We are ripping here! My god. Luckily for you, you do take a good amount of hits. And honestly, it's pretty lenient of a game in terms of like how many hits you can take. It's like you do get invincibility frames for how many things can be wailed on your face and how much damage you take in return. But in terms of skill, it's not that much improved from killing cockroaches. We're already up to 19, yeah, we have to smack down into the graves. But it's whacking the shovel! Shovel whacking! Whack the shovel over and over and over. You are a very powerful man. Or person. Ah! I wouldn't even say the animations are really that great on them. They're fine, I would say, but nothing really spectacular. And then the skulls come flying at you. What? All right, there was our first instance. We'll get a little better look as we keep going in the levels. But our last enemy that shows up is the Banshees, which you don't want on the screen all that often. Because I believe they also do the most damage, and they might also instantly kill you? But I'm not sure. I also was almost dead there. You do take a lot of punishment. Now, the thing is about this game is that there is ultimately an endpoint. And the endpoint is in an area that you might not expect. It's not like a final boss or anything. It's not like King Skeleton, King Zombie is going to show up. Actually, it's more to do with the limitations that the game has. So, we're done this. If you were paying attention to the beginning, we had 44 enemies in order to take down. Time for another 44 enemies. Yeah, so the progression actually comes to a peak and stays there and plateaus for the rest of as long as you're able to keep yourself alive. I don't like games with no win states. Like, there's nothing at stake here. But then again, who am I kidding? I'm playing Stephen King's F13! A game that nobody should. There we go. Another 44 to go. How about let's just get a whole lot of bones thrown at us. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this game either, guys, but don't shoot me. Don't shoot the messenger. Maybe you should look at the Blue Byte Studios' other games that they published, because the game box comes with the entire catalog of Blue Byte games. I beat Chris again. Yay! Not a skelly friend. Not a skelly Okay, that's all I can do. Not a skelly That's good. That's fine. So there you go. There's all the games in F13. Hope you enjoyed. I sure did. I sure did. Winning any of them? I don't think I've won it all. Oh, this is a very defeatist game. But now that we have the meat out of the way, let's return to the right side of the screen for some wonderful customization PC options that you can install on your computer to make your wonderful computer just you. For instance, screensavers. Now, you can take a look at the thumbnails if you really want to, but that's not going to give you the full experience of the screensavers. Oh no! This thing wants to be after dark as anything! You know, like 6 years out of date. But here's the first, we're just going to go in no particular order. The screensavers are not all that bad, but the general consensus of all of these pretty much features on this disc is that they're really outdated. This is something that should have come out in like 1995 to have any sense of proper relevancy. Honestly, I kind of like this one the most. It's like nice and sleep, sound in your bed, but everything else just goes bump in the night. Bump in the night. Also, just kind of like the outdoor stuff is also really good. And that is a giant pair of chattering teeth. There you go. And then you have the bedmaster, as I like to call him. I was like, floor master! Oh wait, no. It's a bedmaster. Now, between all of these wonderful scenes is about, like, maybe 45 seconds of dead air. Like, jeez. Like, again, all of these really cool things, but and sight gags, as one review, I think, called them. But you just have to sit around and do nothing in order to actually experience it. Like, I was personally waiting for the gargoyle. Like, why would you have a gargoyle in your bedroom? I would totally be the person to put a gargoyle in my bedroom. That's sick. And then we end off with, like, Charlie Brown adult voice. There we go. Next up, we have Stephen King writing. Ever wanted to be in a weird spot in space and time watching Stephen King brainstorm what he's going to be writing next? Well, you get this. It's actually kind of interesting how they were able to do this, because it's pretty much just a bunch of randomly generated kind of scenarios in order to make a story that he's writing. Eventually, they kind of start repeating themselves, even though it's like slight paraphrasing. But it's not something I've seen before. Let's just say that and keep it on a positive note. Stephen King looks at you. Yeah. I'm spooky. And at first I didn't know that was a cat. I thought it was just a bunch of, like a skull and a bunch of bones. And that's totally how I type on a keyboard, by the way. I never learned how to type properly. I type okay, but not the whole home row thing. But I'm not clickety-clackety like Stephen King is. Maybe he is like a skeleton, I don't know. Spooky Stephen King.
I'll go check it out. It's that darn thing. It's kind of creepy down here.
Some of these screensavers are actually really interesting, giving off like a kind of scenario. This is one of a few of them. Hey, look! Scary little clown doll. It's fine, though. It's just hanging around. Hey. Yeah, you really have to keep an eye on where he's gonna be and what poses he's gonna do. Happy Halloween!
Finally. Got to be kidding me.
Yeah, you didn't think it was gonna end there, huh? But it will end on that bucket clown. Next one is another interesting one, if a little long in order to get a payoff. This one I think is called Mayhem and Murder. Each of the screensavers has its own name, but it's not really important. Let's just put it this way and enjoy the story that it kind of tries to tell.
There we go. There we are now. Watch your back. Yeah, look pretty legs. Okay, put it down there. Quick, slap it up. Pick it up. Get up.
Good story, huh? Who wants to bet that that was a kind of what there might have been a Stephen King work based on this whole screensaver. Now eyes. What is this? I don't like this. It looks, it's creepy. I don't like eye things. And it also looks like the cracker game from the Three Stooges game on NES. Now what I'm gonna think about forever. So we're not gonna spend too much time on it because apparently it does more and I don't want it to. No. You like eyes? Otherwise, we have some more Stephen King related screensavers. We have, other things that he's done. Like The Running Man, you know. The one that also turned into a movie and was okay. I'm not a big Stephen King writer, but I am familiar with some of his works. Again, this could be a cool screensaver if it was faster. Because you got all this dead air before something else shows up. I believe this screensaver is called The Works, and I'm going like, well, it better work faster. Come on. There we go. Skeleton Crew. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it's more just, hey, here's a book from Stephen King, pre-1999. It's cool, right? Jeez. Lastly, we have trivia. Yeah, you know, the movie Lawnmower Man. Seems kind of fun, you know. Short story. Who starred in the movie? Because not only was it a Stephen King novel, it got turned into a movie, which had Pierce Brosnan in it. I might have to go actually watch that pretty soon. But it also had a Super Nintendo game, which had very little to do with the movie, even though it had actual shots of the movie in it. But yeah. Again, really slow. Next question, please. Sorry, that's transitioned the background. Yeah, so what book most inspired Stephen King to write horror? Why is this not spooky in the slightest? My goodness. You have this whole kind of mood and atmosphere and you do nothing with it substance-wise. But yeah, I Am Legend. There you go. Will Smith helped. Oh boy. No, he did. But yes, okay, that's the screensavers. Let's hop back in because we have one more thing to look out at. Yeah, the works. It's just lightning. Okay. The backgrounds. Not only can you do the screensavers, but you can also change your desktop background to something really, really cool. Like, you know, this 3D render of a gargoyle. Oh my god. You really like Stephen King and that weird, creepy little clown doll that's now hung by a noose? There you go. Also looks like that's a P. So it's like Stephen King. The dayboard is probably the most interesting one, and it's probably because of the one symbol that stares out like a sore thumb. Pet cemetery. Okay. Is that supposed to be correct? I don't know. But you have all this, but you have... Look at that! This is a Tournament Project logo! It's totally Presto who totally developed this game. Which is very true. Oh boy. Yeah, like 2000 and 2001 were the last two years that Presto Studios was a company, so this was on their way out. Like, very honest, was on their way out. But there's a lot of other kind of weird things, like need to use my cat in story. There's a bunch of just smaller things that are in that dayboard. Then you got a cockroach with a finger. You know, that if you're into that, it's cool. It's cool, it's fine. You like the game? Have it as your desktop background. Make it full of death. More eyes. No, thank you. Why? I don't even get the complete black eye. You want to see all the different clown poses? Designing a hidden evil.
Stay away.
It's so good. Yeah, totally believable. Why is there tape? Is it tape? I don't know if that's supposed to be tape or not, but it looks like it. Then you got the graveyard. Definitely want to go back there and whack some not zombie skeleton people. Right? That's totally why I return to this game every so often. Not a chance. Or, roaches. Roaches. All the roaches. That could possibly be what it could be at the end state of the Bug Splat game. I don't know. I don't want to know. Okay. And then there's, God. There's the last one, which is the hurt. It's literally just a hearse. Spooky Halloween themed video. What was I thinking? Oh my god. This is just a hearse. Totally spooky. Totally spooky scary. Jeez, I could be doing anything else right now. And I kind of feel like I want to. Can I just leave it there? Leave it at the hearse? Like, I kind of really want to, because that's the end of everything that is on Stephen King's F13. Not even an hour of stuff, even when I decide to cut this all down. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, so, reviews, it's like a 2 out of 10. It's not worth your time, not worth your money, and has no substance to it. The games, there's so much things. And like the skeleton hand as the cursor, I'm going like, I want to play 7th Guest now. Can I just do that? Can I play Phantasmagoria again? Or better yet, like Phantasmagoria 2? At least that's more of a fun time. Yeah, it's like, okay. Let's leave it on something positive. The hearse is pretty awesome. It's a pretty sweet-ass hearse. And Everything's Eventual is not a bad short story for Stephen King. And honestly, kind of thinking of it now, were there even ebooks or the concept of an ebook back in 1999? I don't think so. But that's gonna be it. Happy Halloween, everybody! See you next time.